Splash art. Whether it's from League of Legends or your favorite anime gambling game, you have probably seen it at least once in your lifetime. But what exactly is splash art? According to ChatGPT, it is a high-quality, polished illustration used to represent a character, game, or product in a visually striking way. Some characteristics of splash art are it's highly detailed and dynamic, focuses on a single subject, often conveys personality, story, or mood, and usually is created by professional concept or marketing artists. So, basically you gotta be an art god. I mean, look at the detail, my guy. Holy smoke. Anyway, what would happen if a casual, non-professional bum artist attempted to make splash art from almost scratch? Well, we're about to find out. Since K-pop Demon Hunters was kinda poppin', I decided to use the three main characters from that movie, Rumi, Mira, and Zoe, as my test subjects to create some art. Let's see how it goes. Absolutely tragic news. I lost all my art footage, so I can't show my process. I don't know how this video is going to turn out anymore, but I'll try my best. Oh yeah, also there might be some spoiler alerts from the movie. Just a heads up. I'm sure you watched it already though. It was absolute cinema. Alright, before every single project I do, I gotta find my references. Basically, I'm gonna use this pose. And for the background and whatnot, I'm just gonna take what I see from the movie because I want to keep it somewhat close to it. Outfit is also from the movie. I'm not gonna lie, finding the sources for the outfits was quite difficult. Couldn't get clear views on like different parts, accessories, things like that, but I tried my best. So yeah, let me show you what's up. Luckily, before my hard drive decided to absolutely betray me, I uploaded my PSD files to my Patreon. So even if I can't show a process of anything, at least I can show more than just the image or the final result. Alright, so in terms of rendering, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how to render thoroughly. I've always appreciated that rough painterly look that artists such as Woolup had, just because it felt more human and it just looked cool. Like if you go zoom out, it looks like what it's supposed to look like, but if you zoom in, it looks like nonsense. I just really like that, and I want to implement that into my own work. So what I'm basically trying to say is I never properly learned how to render, and thus I'm not that good at it. So yeah, you can see parts like the hair and the background are very, I don't want to say sloppy, so I'm gonna just say they don't look very well polished like how splash art is normally supposed to look. Though it's not well polished, it does emphasize a singular figure and maybe it tells a story. I mean, my intention with the story was to portray the final scene where Rumi was fighting the bad guy and her sword becomes really big. I'll play a little clip here, so yeah. So, for my first piece, I gotta say I'm pretty proud of myself. It took me 17 hours to complete this, and the fact that I was able to finish it in the first place shows my improvement, because honestly, me from about 6 months ago probably wouldn't be able to get past the color blocking point. I'm not gonna lie, when I first finished this, I was so excited to upload it to like Instagram that I couldn't even sleep. But yeah, all that for like 20 likes. It's okay though, Rome wasn't built in a day. Next splash art, I decided to go with Mira. After seeing this pose on my Patreon, I was like, I see a vision, you know, I see something in this. The reference is splash art from another game called Naraka Blade Point, I believe, and the pose was something that I felt would be more difficult than the one on my first attempt. To be honest, I didn't really think about how difficult drawing this gesture would be, nor what my final drawing would actually look like. Something I realized is creating a vision for what you want your end result to be doesn't really lead to good outcomes. You just get discouraged because you set a high standard. But if you have no expectation and just go with it, you're guaranteed to impress yourself, I think. As you can see in this final result, this is how I managed to turn that pose into something a little different. I'm proud with the posing on this one. I don't know if the proportions are right, and that kind of scares me a little, but ignorance is bliss, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. What gave me the most trouble was the hair. I tried to make it as flowy as possible, but it looked really messy, so I just stuck with more of the basics and just went with something a little more safe because I was struggling. Again, with the background, not really well rendered, I would say, but I still think it reflects the general environment pretty well. The scene that inspired me for this was the one where Mira is killing off the Saja Boy demons. So I added the little popcorn flying into the screen. I thought that was a little neat Easter egg, I think. Not even Easter egg, just a detail. I think it sort of references the movie quite well and kind of tells the story. I tried my best. Cut me some slack, please. Attempt 2 was probably my best one. I just felt like the process was the smoothest, and despite it taking the most amount of time, 18 hours by the way, I'm happy with it. It feels a little emptier. I don't know, something about it feels a little emptier than the first one, but that's okay. And last but not least, this better be my best one out of the 3. At the end, I'm gonna ask you guys which one do you think came out the best. Searching for a good pose for Zoe was quite difficult because there were so many options I could choose from just off of Pinterest, and I am very indecisive. It turns out a lot of characters use flying daggers as their main weapon. Surprisingly, the pose that caught my attention was an artwork by Liu, aka Art66K, who had this OC hitting the drums. I was like, hold on, wait a minute, I could use that, I see a vision there. So I stuck with it, and here is the final results for that one. Surprisingly, this pose gave me the most trouble. Like, before I lost all my footage, I calculated that I spent at least 1 hour trying to sketch it out, and it was still chopped. But anyway, yeah. I added more key environmental subjects, I guess, to this one compared to the other ones. The scene that I really wanted to recreate in this one was her fighting these ugly demon minion thingies. Luckily, they're not too difficult to draw, and when they die, they leave this weird, smoky, cool, glowing pink effect, and I wanted to implement that. Another thing that I really wanted to do right this time was show off the weapons better, because in the first 2, as you can see, unfortunately due to how I created my composition without much plan, they get cut off, and I'm really sad about that. I believe that these weapons are a really big important part of each character, so I wanted to do it justice and show it right this time. That's why I went a little heavy on the special effects. My original plan was to keep that trail that the weapons have because it just looks so cool in the movie and I wanted to recreate it. But while looking at other frames from the clip, I see that there is a huge cool glare that the weapons have, and I wanted to see if I could recreate that too, just for fun. And it turned out better than I expected, so I decided, maybe I should just keep it and work with it. I put it on a new layer because I don't know if everyone would like it, so I kept it on and off. Let me know, is it better with it on or off? Aside from that, I'm also happy with how this looked. This one took me 15 hours, and even though not everything is well rendered like splash art should be, I'm happy with it. I believe it has a more interesting environment. The posing's fine, and it shows off the weapon, something that the other ones really didn't do well. So yeah. Here are all 3 side by side. I think Mira turned out the best in my opinion, but I'm curious to know which one you guys prefer, so comment down below. Overall, I'm satisfied with my work. Despite the flaws, I see a lot of improvement when I look at these 3 works, and that makes me happy enough. This was the first time I actually did something a lot more challenging, and I stuck with it, and I'm impressed with how it turned out. Before, I used to just give up on my art when it wasn't going my way. I was lazy, and because of that, I stayed in my comfort zone. However, lately it's changed, and challenges have been feeling a little more fun, and I'm happy about that. Though I don't see a world where I work for Riot Games and make art for them, I'm still proud of my progress, and you should be proud of yours too. Until next time, see ya.